Greetings. In this card comparison, we'll be discussing the Page of Cups. He is in the suit that represents the element water, which traditionally symbolizes emotions. Before we begin, I want to address a common question that's come up. Some friends have asked why I haven't been explaining these card comparisons in order. The reason is simple. It brings me joy to randomly select a card and see what it has to say on any given day. So let's indulge me in the practice of working with Tarot and talk about the card that has come up for today. It is the number 11, also known as the Page of Cups in the Rider Waite deck, Understanding in the Osho Zen, and Imagination in the Sacred Chi Tarot. We'll start with the Page of Cups from the Rider Waite Smith deck, which represents fantasy, curiosity, youthfulness, imagination. This card depicts a young man considering an imagined fantasy contained in a cup, which is the symbol of his suit. He appears totally relaxed. There doesn't seem to be any pressure to achieve anything or to impress anyone. He's characterized by a certain dreaminess, curiosity, fantasy. His imagined vision is adolescent, unripe, not yet tested. There's a need for further development, and that requires time in order for him to actually realize a dream. In a reading, this card can indicate naivete and a vulnerable nature with a rich imagination that is full of potential. This page is wearing a tunic patterned in lotus, the flower that blooms out of murky waters. His childish pastel pink and blue colors have not yet matured into the deep blues and reds of grown-up experience. The little fish he's engaged with appears to be inviting him to hold on to his dream, explore deeper, create, invent, and envision what the possibilities in his future might be. There is much potential, and the little fish is urging him in his fantasy to swim beyond the limits of his own mind and perhaps create something that has never happened before. It's a beautiful message, and much inspiration is born through it. Then we have another approach to a similar storyline, and this approach is what we'll be looking at in the Osho Zen Tarot. In this deck, the color blue, denoting emotions, appears in the diamond at the base of the card that is called Understanding. There's a small bird fluttering its wings and hearing the call of its fellows from off in the distance. Although they look just like him, he's not yet one of them. He imagines participating in their flight of joy and sharing. But in order to do that, this small, innocent being needs to move past the confines that have held him back. They may be actual or they may be imagined. Perhaps these confines were his own innocence and his unreadiness to move forward in his life. But now he is ready, and this is the aha moment where he realizes that he is in fact free of the limits that had kept him held back. He can finally soar into the open sky, spread his wings, and become one with those around him. In the Sacred Chi Tarot deck, the watery emotional suit is depicted by a blue band at the bottom of the card. Unlike other decks, the pages in this deck are numbered 11 instead of being referred to as pages. The sequence follows after the number 10 and is completed by numbers 11, then the 12, the 13, and 14. Thus, the number 11 represents the page in this new deck. We see a young woman dressed in the colors of spring, representing fresh beginnings, new grasses, the poetry of flowers. Her body is almost transparent and dreamy, and she gazes toward the horizon, daydreaming of her future. Her fantasy world is filled with possibilities that one day might become real, taking her away to thrilling adventures, realizing unimagined opportunities. When this card appears in a reading, it indicates that in order for dreams to become real, they need to develop further and go through many changes. However, in the case of this particular card, the focus is on the free-flowing beauty of imagination itself, inspiration, and resourcefulness. Immaturity is essentially only inexperience. It requires time and many, many challenges for our dreams to be realized. The card of imagination reminds us that at the threshold of potential, there exists a wondrous quality of innocence, a state of being where one is filled with awe and wonder at the possibilities that lie ahead. As we slowly develop and grow, we come to realize that our dreams and imagination may become possible, but it will take time and effort to bring them to fruition. The tarot cards in these beautifully crafted decks provide us with a glimpse into the mysteries of our own being. Each deck has a unique way of telling the many facets of that story. When used together, the decks complement each other beautifully.